Just 2 days from the release of this video, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles will take the field for Super Bowl 59. If you happen to be catching it on a later date, then you know whether the Chiefs completed the three-peat or if the Philadelphia Eagles, the better team without the backing of the NFL commissioner, rightfully took home their second Lombardi. Regardless, there's enough quality in these two teams to avoid being one of the worst Super Bowl matchups of all time, but not enough quality to be one of the 10 best Super Bowl matchups of all time. What would those games be? I'm so glad you asked. Today we will be simultaneously counting down the 10 highest quality and lowest quality Super Bowls of all time, and we will be doing that by using C-Score, this channel's metric for determining the quality of every single team during the Super Bowl era, champions or not. For a deeper explanation of C-Score, be sure to check out the description of this video. All we're doing is taking the combined C-Score of each team from each Super Bowl and adding them up. The higher that total, the higher the quality of that matchup. The lower the total, the lower the quality of that matchup. We're doing two lists at once here, and as Super Bowls, these games are fairly widely known, so we'll kind of be zipping through this. Thank you for joining us today. We are ready to roll. We'll start with the best of list. At number 10 is Super Bowl 26 following the 1991 season between the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Redskins. After a 13-3 regular season, the Bills went through the AFC playoffs to get to this game. The Redskins went 14-2 and won the NFC. Buffalo's C-score of around 14.5 combines with Washington's mega score of 51.468 gives us a total of 66.091. The Redskins had no trouble at all in this game, winning by a deceptively close score of 37-24. We'll now start counting down the worst of list. Coming in at number 10, Super Bowl 16 after the 1981 season between the Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers. The Bengals went 12-4 and won the AFC title game to get here. The 49ers won the NFC after going 13-3. Both of these teams had losing records the season before. The C-scores here are close, but their combined total is still kind of low. The Bengals around 18.5, the Niners around 20.5, the total is 38.874. The Niners jumped out to a 20-0 lead in this game, holding on to win it 26-21. Just like our number 10 entry, our number 9 entry is kind of a one-team show. This is Super Bowl 20 after the 1985 season. The matchup is between the New England Patriots and the Chicago Bears. The Patriots won a tiebreaker to get into the playoffs at 11-5, but they got through the AFC and won that title. The Bears, of course, dominated everybody except for one game. They went 15-1 and pitched a shutout on the way to this Super Bowl. The Patriots clear 14 in C-score. The Bears are the number 1 team in C-score over the Super Bowl era at 52.163. The combined total here is 66.27. The Patriots actually took a 3-0 lead in this game. The final score was Chicago 46, New England 10. We're going to be seeing the New England Patriots again, but from a more modern era. At number 9 in the worst of list is Super Bowl 53. This is after the 2018 season between the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. The Patriots were only 11-5, but of course that was good enough to get them a bye in the AFC playoffs. The Rams went 13-3, also earning a bye. Both teams kind of had a controversial path to this game, but make it they did. Again, the C-scores are close. The Patriots 17.5, the Rams 20.5. They combined for 30.059. This was the lowest scoring Super Bowl of all time, which is crazy considering how much the rules have changed since the early days of the game. The Patriots won 13-3. At number 8, we have kind of another one-team show, but at least the second team is pulling some weight. This is Super Bowl 24 coming after the 1989 season. The matchup was between the Denver Broncos and the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams were the 1 seed in their conference, Denver at 11-5, San Francisco at 14-2. The Broncos carry a C-score of almost 22.5. The 49ers clear 44 points. The combined total here is 66.62. The Niners set the all-time record in this game with 55 points scored and a 45-point margin, records that have yet to be broken. Considering the quality of opponent, this might be the most impressive single-game performance in the history of the NFL. We go back to the dark side here. We're going to see another repeat team. At number 8 is Super Bowl 47 following the 2012 season. The Baltimore Ravens matched up with the San Francisco 49ers. The Ravens were 10-6 and nothing special, but they were able to pull through the AFC playoffs. The Niners were 11-4-1, went on the road in the NFC title game to get here. The Ravens C-score is 11.6, the Niners clear 26, giving us a total score of 37.738. Yet, despite that discrepancy in C-score, it was the Ravens who climbed out to a 28-3 lead. Then the blackout happened and the Niners were able to get back into the game, but the Ravens held on for the 34-31 victory. At number 7 might just be the most celebrated Super Bowl of all time. This is Super Bowl 13 coming after the 1978 season. This is a matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. Pittsburgh had won 2 straight Super Bowls but had missed out the previous 2 seasons. They got back this season at 14-2. The Cowboys were defending Super Bowl champions at 12-4 and got back to this game for the 2nd straight year. Look how close those C-scores are. 33.1 for Pittsburgh, 33.5 for Dallas. Their combined total is 66.746. Now this was quite the epic matchup. The team to win the Super Bowl would be the first to win 3 and would lay claim to the 1970s team of the decade. It was Pittsburgh who won a shootout, 35-31. We once again find ourselves running into the 21st century Patriots on the worst of list. Coming in at number 7 is Super Bowl 46, coming after the 2011 season between the Patriots and the New York Giants. Now the Patriots truly aren't to blame for this matchup. They were 13-3, they outscored their opponents by more than 10 points per game to get here. The Giants, on the other hand, were barely over 500 at 9-7 and were outscored on the season. This reflects in the C-scores, the Patriots over 28, the Giants only clearing 9. The total here is 37.542. Now, again, on this worst of list, this discrepancy in C-score did not dictate how the game went. The Giants pulled off the upset, again, winning 21-17. Nearing the halfway point on both lists, at number 6, we go to number 1. Super Bowl 1, that is, from 1966 between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Packers were the dominant force in the NFL to this point, and they showed no signs of slowing down in making this game. The Chiefs looked to represent the AFL, having gone 11-2-1. Both teams actually had the exact same point differential of plus 172. Green Bay carried the bigger C-score at almost 41. The Chiefs just cleared 26. The total here is 66.911. This game, in fact, wasn't even referred to as the Super Bowl yet. It was just the AFL-NFL World Championship game. The Chiefs kept it close at halftime, only trailing 14-10, before the Packers pulled away to win 35-10. We've got to admit, it's really kind of unfair to drag a 1970s Steelers team onto this worst of list, but here we are. At number 6 is Super Bowl 14, following the 1979 season between the Steelers and the LA Rams. The Steelers had won 3 of the previous 5 Super Bowls and were looking for the repeat by going 12-4. The Rams, on the other hand, were barely over 500 at 9-7 and outscored their opponents on the season by fewer than 1 point per game. The Steelers have no issue with their C-score here, 36.289. But the Rams dragged this down, the only team to ever make the Super Bowl with a negative C-score. The total here is 35.54. Yet this game almost saw a massive upset. The Rams led at the end of the first, second, and the third quarter. But they did not win at the end of the fourth, as the Steelers won 31-19. We are now in the second half of the countdown. Coming in at number 5 on the best of list is Super Bowl 8. This is the 1973 season, and the matchup is the Miami Dolphins and the Minnesota Vikings. Both teams went 12-2. By this time, the AFC had kind of grown in higher stature over the NFC. That's shown in these C-scores. Miami almost at 43. Minnesota still good, pushing 25. The total C-score here is 67.657. In their undefeated season the previous year, the Dolphins were kind of skating by their opponents. Not so much this year. They jumped all over the Vikings in this game on their way to an easy 24-7 victory. The first Super Bowl that ever pitted the AFC champion against the NFC champion comes in here at number 5. This is Super Bowl 5 in 1970. This matchup is between the Baltimore Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. The Colts were previously members of the NFL who got shifted to the AFC this season. They went 11-2-1, whereas the Cowboys went 10-4. These C-scores are nothing special. The Colts just missed hitting 11, the Cowboys cleared 19, the total is 29.963, a big drop from our previous entry. And this game itself was a mess. It is often referred to as the Blunder Bowl, but the Colts were able to blunder less while ironically turning the ball over more to win 16-13. The Kansas City Chiefs may be going for the first ever Super Bowl three-peats, but three-peats have happened in the NFL before. Look no further than 1967. This is Super Bowl II between the Green Bay Packers and the Oakland Raiders. The Packers weren't their typical selves, going 9-4-1, but they were still able to get to this game. The Raiders dominated the AFL, going 13-1 and outscoring their opponents by 235 points. Now, despite that big gap, the gap in C-score is a little smaller because of the strength of the leagues. The Packers at 29.4, the Raiders at 38.3. Green Bay were able to handle the Raiders in this one 33-14. This paired with their Super Bowl I victory and 1967 NFL title gave them a three-peat. Our fourth lowest ranked matchup in Super Bowl history is Super Bowl 22. This is after 1987, involving the Denver Broncos and the Washington Redskins. This was a strike-shortened season, and in 3 games during the regular season, the vast majority of the players were of the replacement kind. Denver went 10-4-1, Washington went 11-4. Both teams got through their conference playoffs to make this game. The Broncos C-score only a little bit higher than 11. The Redskins pushed 18. The total here is 28.956. This game, of course, is very well known for that ridiculous second quarter by the Redskins. They entered the quarter trailing 10-0 before reeling off 35 points, adding one more touchdown to win 42-10. At number 3 is the number 1 Super Bowl when it comes to win percentage. This is Super Bowl 19, coming off the 1984 season between the Miami Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers. The Dolphins had the worst record here, going 14-2. That's because the 49ers were 15-1. Both of these teams outscored their opponents by more than 200 points. Miami's C-score is just under 30. The 49ers sit at around 41.5. This is the biggest jump in combined C-score we've seen to this point, of over 3 points, a total of 70.897. The game kinda started off looking like a shootout, but the 49ers defense took control while the offense kept humming. They won this game 38-16. The two worst teams to ever make it to the Super Bowl have three things in common. They were NFC West champions, they were only 9-7, and in the Super Bowl, they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is Super Bowl 43 following the 2008 season between those Steelers and the Arizona Cardinals. Pittsburgh was 12-4, led the league in points allowed, and the Cardinals were 9-7 and outscored their opponents by a single point. The C-scores tell us the story here. The Steelers have 27.548, the Cardinals 0.12. They combined for 27.668. All that said, the Cardinals entered the Super Bowl hot and held the lead with under a minute to go. The Steelers could not be denied and won this game 27-23. We come to number 2, and this is one of the 3 candidates for the most famous game in NFL history. Super Bowl III following the 1968 season between the Baltimore Colts and the New York Jets. The Colts completely dominated the NFL in 1968, going 13-1 and outscoring their opponents by 258 points. The Jets weren't exactly slouches in the AFL, going 11-3 and making their way to this game. Those C-scores, though, are a massive difference. Baltimore carries over a 49, the Jets do well to get close to 22. The combined total is 71.119. Don't let anybody tell you that Joe Namath led the way to this victory. He ran his mouth before the game and he wound up being right. But the Jets defense dominated this game to the tune of 5 takeaways, and they ran the ball down Baltimore's throat. They won this game 16-7. The second worst matchup in Super Bowl history once again brings us the 21st century New England Patriots. This is Super Bowl 38 between those same Patriots and the Carolina Panthers. The Patriots did their part. They went 14-2, although only with a plus 110 point differential. Carolina was 11-5 with only a plus 21 point differential. That reflects in the C-scores. The Patriots, one of the lower ranked 14-win teams you're likely to see at just under 22. The Panthers were even worse, not even at 4 points. The total C-score here is 25.622. This was an odd game with all the scoring taking place in flurries during the second quarter and the fourth quarter. The Patriots got the benefit of an out-of-bounds kickoff with about a minute remaining and were able to win this game 32-29. It's now time to reveal the best of the best. Our number 1 ranked Super Bowl matchup of all time is Super Bowl IV. This coming after the 1969 season, pitting the Kansas City Chiefs against the Minnesota Vikings. The Chiefs won the final AFL season by going 11-3, getting in as a pseudo wild card and making it into this game. The Vikings picked up just about where the Colts left off the previous season, going 12-2 and outscoring their opponents by 246 points. Kansas City C-score 34.6, Minnesota around 43.1. We get a massive jump of more than 6.5 points of combined C-score from our previous entry at 77.835. The Vikings truly did pick up where the Colts left off by being heavy favorites in this game, but still finding a way to lose. Kansas City took this one 23-7. Now it's time to reveal the worst of the worst. Our number 1 worst matchup in Super Bowl history is actually a recent game. This is Super Bowl 56 after the 2021 season between the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is in fact the only Super Bowl of the last 6 seasons not to include the Kansas City Chiefs. Both of these teams were the number 4 seed in their conference. Cincy doing so at 10-7, the Rams doing so at 12-5. That did push the Rams' C-score a little higher to just under 17, while the Bengals just missed 8.5. The combined score here, a lowly 25.454. That said, the game was entertaining and it wasn't decided until very late. The Rams did get this one 23-20. Looking now at both top 10s as a whole, with the best of list on the left and the worst of list on the right. It is so congested between 10 and 6 on the best of list, even trailing down to number 4. That congestion on the worst of list breaks up at around number 6. We do see some of the same teams more than once. 5 teams made the best of list twice, but none can make it to 3. That wasn't the case on the worst of list, where 3 teams made it twice, but 2, the Rams and the Patriots, made it 3 times, including their matchup in Super Bowl 53. Just more good fortune for the Patriots. Only the 49ers made each list twice, and they tied with the Patriots for most overall appearances with 4. Every pre-merger Super Bowl made the best of list, demonstrating the overall strength of teams from that era. But then the first post-merger Super Bowl made the worst of list. Go figure. The most recent best of entry was from 1991, just before the onset of free agency and the salary cap, and even that was at number 10. 6 of the worst of entries come from that era, and they were all from the 21st century. The average season for the best matchups is 1977. The average season for the worst matchups, 1999. Thank you so much for joining us today and for making it this far into the video. This is the end of our look back into the specific rounds of the NFL playoffs. Hopefully you have enjoyed that trip down memory lane. Please do like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell to be notified about all our future videos. Let me know what you think about all of this. Was there a matchup on either list you think shouldn't have been included? Or perhaps a matchup that was left out that should have been included? Sound off on this or anything else you may have on your mind down there in the comments section below. Thank you once again for joining us today, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.